I'm Ashton Addison from Block Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Douglas, the founder and CEO of Wild. Douglas, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Excited to dive into everything that your team has been working on. I would love to start off our conversation together by just hearing a little bit of your background in blockchain and in Web 2 and how that led to starting Wild, and then we'll dive into all the details.
Sounds great. Quick background. I live in San Francisco, California, but I'm born and raised in Ohio. Spent the first part of my career as a finance geek, and on a move from Ohio to New York City, it became pretty fortuitous because it led to me starting my first business, which is a company called Apartment List. I was the founder and CEO of Apartment List for about 14 years, raised about 170 million in venture capital, grew it to 100 million run rate revenue and profitability in 2020 in the pandemic year. Moved into the chairman role at Apartment List in March of last year to have an opportunity to start Wild. And it's been a really exciting journey. So Wild is a culmination of a lot of pieces of my past. I was a collector as a young kid, collecting baseball, football, basketball cards. I used to build model train sets with my dad in our basement, and that was kind of my first experience world building. Fast forward to 2017, I started investing on the blockchain. Like a lot of people, I in 2020 started producing my own music. That's where the name Douglas came from. It's my middle name, and so I got to see this new world through the eyes of a creator and an artist. In 2021, I started buying my first pieces of digital art, and I was obsessed. So I'm super excited to be in Web3. I'm happy to share all about Wild today, and also happy to answer any questions about my background.
Amazing. Great intro, Douglas. And yeah, that sounds like a wild history with that amount of revenue and growth. And congratulations on that. And the timing is just perfect. And I feel like the timing is probably perfect now to start Wild in what we're seeing in these marketplaces and the digital collectibles. I feel like we're just nearing the beginning of it. And, a 14-year history there. I feel like this could easily do that and more. These digital collectibles are the start of something that could be around for decades and decades. So I'm excited to see how it plays out and to hear where you think the industry is going. Can we just talk about Wild from like the top level? Obviously there's people that are starting to, there's a whole different crowd of people that are starting to invest in digital collectibles than that of traditional cryptocurrencies and traditional investing, which is great to have more people in the industry. I'm curious where Wild is positioning itself in that marketplace in the collectibles industry.
Absolutely. We believe there's a better way to foster the world's creativity. So Wild is a digital artist residency. So a lot of people will describe Wild as Y Combinator for artists and creators. We're flattered by that analogy, but our excitement around the business is really in helping creators be the most successful version of themselves in Web3. And so we kicked off our residency last year. We started with a cohort of 20 incredible digital artists across the world, and we just started our drops about a month ago out of the residency. So since then we've kicked off the subsequent season of our residency. So we've got 20 more amazing artists, and by the end of this year we'll have over 100 artists that have gone through the Wild residency or on the platform, and we'll have done north of 70 drops alone on Wild.
Wow, that's incredible, and great to have a place for these digital artists to get together in that sense. And I feel like that's something that I haven't seen in these other what we're seeing of like just NFT marketplaces like OpenSea and Blur, and a lot of people that are into digital collectibles, they hear, oh, if I just go there I can just get some art, but this is different than that. Can you explain sort of the main differences from somebody who, maybe they bought one or two NFTs, but they're not really into it deep? What is the main difference between like an NFT marketplace like OpenSea and what Wild is doing?
Sure. Yeah, the biggest difference is our art is 3D and experiential. You can also describe it as immersive. And so what that means is you're able to collect these incredible pieces of art from our amazing artists, and they will act as building blocks to the future metaverse. And so it is, one of my personal pain points as a collector in the space is so much of the experience is 2D, and so many of my digital collectibles kind of collect digital dust in my Ethereum wallet or wallets, and to me that just seems like a waste of incredible art and talent. And so to me, we really wanted to create a way and a platform that the artists could navigate that would help them be successful. And, I'm not a hockey fan, but to quote Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the puck is going. And we believe that future state is fully immersive, AR and VR compatible. And so a lot of the artists that we work with come to Wild because they want to have a playbook for how to navigate the next chapter of the internet. And, I think the blockchain is particularly well suited to provide a lot of resources to these creators as they move into this new territory.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I feel like something like this kind of Y Combinator cohort is especially important because, especially for independent artists and those that they're trying to just run their digital artwork sort of from the ground up, and they're not a blue chip project or they don't have a huge company. It's really hard for them to actually get noticed. It's like, as they say, it's an open sea of all of this stuff, and like, how do you get recognition for your unique talents when there's just so much other noise around in the industry?
Yeah, for us, it starts with storytelling. We want the artist to be able to share that story because it's about more than just collecting a piece, and it's about more than the price change of that collection. I think it's we're supporting artists. We feel like these artists are super inspirational to the future of technology, and so. My perspective is the pieces that resonate the most with me are the ones where I got to know the artist and I got to know the story behind the collection, and that makes these experiences that much more special to be able to kind of learn all about what the artist was going through, what the inspiration was for the collection. So to me, that's a missing element in today's Web3 world, and it's just an added layer to everything we're trying to do at Wild.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And, with these traditional cohorts, Y Combinator, for example, not just anybody can just join and be a part of the crew, for life. How do you curate with Wild? What are the good artists? What determines what artists' work can go onto the platform?
Yeah, we have a combination of more experienced digital artists and also emerging artists, and we take great pride in building a diverse group, whether it's the artist genres, the mediums they use, the software they use, where they're located in the world, and so on and so forth. So we get really excited to receive our application. So there's a formal application process. And we review every single application. So it's difficult to get into, but it's also, I think, super rewarding for the artist. And so, we want to keep the bar very high. We want people to be very excited about the opportunity. And we're also creating our own version of a curatorial board to help usher some of the artists into a different sphere within our platform. And so, that curatorial board will be filled with some iconic artists and collectors across the world. And so it's a combination of those two things, but we're always accepting applications on Wild's website.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And you mentioned at the beginning about doing these exclusive drops from these artists. I'm curious on how that works and how rare. I'm guessing it depends on each collection, but are there just a very small amount of limited NFTs that are dropped that get picked up right away by people that are following along and preparing for these drops, or how does that work with these primary drops?
Yeah, we've sold out our first 3 collections. So the way it works is we have our Oasis Pass holders. So a Wild has its own NFT, which is called the Oasis. And for anybody that holds that, they get a allow list to all the artists' drops, which is a really incredible opportunity. And so the Oasis is relatively undiscovered so far, and we're excited to kind of share that story here today. So if you have an Oasis, you get an opportunity ahead of everyone else to build your collection and support the artists and collect a piece. And then we go to the artists allow list. So the artists tend to add folks that have supported their work in the past. And that's super exciting for them. And then we have our auction. And so all of this happens in just about 24 hours, including the reveal and the artist interview on our Wild Wednesday program on that happens weekly. And so, from our perspective, we really want to share those stories, to tell more about the collection, and we want people to see what it's like to experience the Wild experience as well, which is a complement software experience that we build to the artist's work. So we have a core competency at our company in Unreal Engine 5, which is what Fortnite is built in, and so you can start to really see with really incredible precision and aesthetic quality what these pieces of art will look like in a metaverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to take a look at some of the artwork. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm getting tired of just a picture, which could just be any JPEG, and you really want to have something that has extra value where you're immersed in it, or it's this 3D experience. And I'm curious about the plans for this metaverse that you talked about. I feel like when you look at the analogy of the old school collectors, as you mentioned at the beginning, there's certain collections where, if you have a bunch of baseball cards, they're in a binder and you're not really showing them off. You just buy them and, decades later you pull it out. But there's other collectors that also have rooms showcasing all of their collectibles and an interactive experience where you can actually, appreciate the art that you have. You're not just having it in the closet for decades. And I feel like that's something that we can bring into this metaverse format. How do you envision the showcasing these digital artworks in the metaverse as you continue to grow the platform?
Yeah, my personal feeling is that we will all become collectors of these experiences. And I think, a quote I like to share is happiness is only real when shared, which is ironically from the book Into the Wild, the story of Chris McCandless. And I love the idea of creating different surface area for people to explore with friends and to make new friends. And I think that the building blocks of that metaverse will be all of this incredible work. And I can't think of a better way to enter Web3 as a collector than to have kind of experiences built by the most creative people on the planet Earth. And so I get really excited to kind of unleash these new mediums and these new formats to collectors, because I do believe that they'll be iconic, and I do believe that the artists that we have, some of which are already world renowned, even the emerging artists are really going to be on a different trajectory by virtue of their emphasis on 3D and immersive characteristics of art. And so, we're the only ones I know that are completely focused on this, and I think that's a fun place to play. And I also think it'll be a really rewarding opportunity for all the collectors involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really unique, and I'm curious what your perspective is on the timing of the just metaverse and interactive art for growing that market more into the mainstream, right? Because NFTs have gotten quite popular over the last couple of years, but the metaverse technology and the interactive experiences, we've been talking about VR and metaverses for a decade or almost a decade, right? And it's just a matter of some catalyst where that actually kicks it off, where all of a sudden the next 10 million or 100 million people are joining. And the interactive experience is great, but it's great to be able to share that, as you mentioned, as you said about the happiness. Once we can actually share it, lower those barriers to entry so that it's easy for people to get into that experience and experience it without having to have hardware or download a million things. What is your perspective on when these artists create this beautiful experience, when millions of people are going to start joining and being able to experience that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's already happening today. When you look at Roblox as an example, half of 10 to 14-year-olds in the United States are using Roblox. That's just an incredible number. That is the most kind of prolific metaverse we have today. And so I think that this next generation that will be adults in the next 5 years is really starting to experience this already, and they're used to buying digital collectibles. They're used to avatars. They're used to spending so much time on their phones in immersive worlds. So to me, I think it is inevitable that hundreds of millions of people are on their way, if not a billion people over the next decade, to these immersive worlds. I think from a hardware perspective, we're just in the infancy, as you referenced. So, Meta has just come out with the Oculus Quest Pro. We're all anxiously awaiting the Apple, mixed reality AR VR headset. There are a bunch of like lower cost AR headsets now and alternatives out there. And so I think that there's a lack of incredible content for these devices. I play with these devices personally, and so does our team. And so we would love to be a fixture for creativity that's blockchain driven, that is supported by these devices. And so we're gonna do our best to build pieces of work that are scalable once AR and VR become more mainstream, and we're excited to lead from the front in that regard. But in the interim, it's going to be a lot of desktop and a lot of native apps.
Yeah, no, that's a great perspective, Douglas, especially about just the teenagers they're living it, and once they grow into a few years from now, it will be the normal, right? And it's not just the 40 and 50-year-olds that will all of a sudden pick up a VR headset and become obsessed. I don't think that's exactly how it's going to happen. But I feel like as all of these different technologies sort of encroach into people's lives more, it will just be the normal. So,
well said. Yeah, and we're here for it. The analogy I use is like, it feels like we're on a surfboard, riding in front of a big tsunami, a happy tsunami of people that are coming to Web3, and we're fired up to be in that position and to be able to build something special to us like Wild.
Very fun. I'm ready to go surfing. So thank you so much, Douglas, for your insights into this and for creating a cohort for artists. I feel like it's something that they need a lot to bring people together and to create an experience that's more than just pictures. It's an immersive experience. So I'm looking forward to checking it out myself and following along as it continues to grow. What is the best way for the viewers to follow along for these drops, to learn about the artists, and to follow along with the Metaverse side as well?
Come to Wild.xyz. We have weekly auctions for new collections. We share artist stories. You can follow us on Twitter. We keep everyone up to date on the latest news. If you're on Discord, you can join us there. And otherwise, we would love the absolute best way is for you to buy a piece of art from one of our incredible artists and support their journey, and also get a sense for what this future kind of decentralized metaverse will be like, because I think it's going to be a really wonderful place.
Great. Thank you so much. I will leave the Wild.xyz link and the socials there, and the Oasis Pass details with the artists, everything in the description box below. All the best on everything with Wild moving forward, Douglas, and let's follow up in the near future.
Sounds great, Ashton. Thanks so much for having us.